Hey everyone, and welcome to Isms by Josie. Today we're going to be continuing our Crochet Cafe booklet that I got from Amazon. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. And for my new viewers, please consider subscribing, share, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and click on that notification bell for future videos. So today, you guys, we are going to be doing the dinner series. I've chosen an item like this item from the dinner section of the Crochet Cafe booklet, and it's going to be super ultra cute. If you have not caught my other videos, go ahead and check that out. We've already done breakfast, we've done lunch, now we're going to move on to dinner, and then the last two bits, if we have time, is dessert and snacks. So I got this booklet on Amazon. If you are interested in this book, I highly recommend it. I'm leaving the link in the description box below. I have no affiliations with them. I was just looking for a gift for my goddaughter, and I found this booklet, and it's too cute. I just can't. All right, so let's go to the section of what I'm doing for dinner. And today we're going to be doing Chinese takeout. For my meals, I picked options that had multiple pieces. I think that these are great for developing children because, you know, it's different textured items that they can play around with, and then of course it comes in a set so they can build it, take it apart. They're gonna know what a Chinese takeout little box is by the end of this. But what it has is the takeout box. It has a fortune cookie. It has some noodles. It has a couple of shrimp and a pair of chopsticks. So this is gonna be so cute, you guys. I cannot. All right. Oh wow, each section asks for a different size hook. Well, that's interesting. All right, so for the last sections, now I'm actually going to look back and see if I use the same gauge, because each section apparently tells you what size hook you're going to need. So let's check that out right now. I'm gonna go to the last section that I did. All right, okay, so the last section I did was a 3.75 millimeter hook, but I used a 3.5. I'm actually going to use the 3.5 again. Oh no, what did breakfast ask for? Yeah, same 3.75. For some reason this one's asking for a 4 millimeter gauge, which is a thicker hook that I was using for breakfast and lunch. They asked for a 3.75. I'm just going to stick with the 3.75. You can follow this to identically match what you're making, or you can use what you have. I do have a 4. I don't have a 3.75 actually, but I've been using a 3.5. I'm going to stick with a 3.5. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm breaking this down in videos. This is going to be the dinner series. So the first thing that we're going to do is the takeout container. All right, you guys, so this video is going to be a supplement to the instructions. So if you really want to make these items, I highly recommend that you get the book, and then you'll be able to follow along with this video. I will be going over new stitches at least 3 times, and then I'm going to go through the instructions, and if there's any kind of confusing little bits, I'm going to be going over that as well to hopefully clarify anything that you might that might come up. If you need to speed up or slow down the video, click on the gear button. There's options to go fast or slow. If you don't need to hear me talking, you can lower the volume on your device and click on the CC closed caption button. But let's get started. So, like I said, I have my 3.5. You can use your 4 point. This is actually 4 through 3.5 millimeter. So I'm going to stick with this. If you have a 4mm hook, that's great. I'm going to go grab my yarn. We're going to start off with white yarn. Alright, so here I have my white yarn with Dexter hair. Okay, and then I'm gonna go and start this off. We need to first cast on to our hook with a slip knot. So what you're going to do is we're gonna take the end piece here. You want to grab it with your ring, pinky, and thumb right here. Then we're going to take our index and middle and just hold it apart just like this. Meanwhile, I'm going to take my hook and lie it perpendicular to the yarn. We're going to go down, out, and around to make this loop. That's going to be making your hook able to slide up and down the yarn. We're going to slide our hook towards our thumb. And then with the middle finger, I'm just going to hold it where it crosses because I'm going to let go of my left hand. And I'm going to gather up some feeder yarn. So that's where I just wrap this around my finger a couple of times. I'm going to re-pinch the end piece here. And I'm going to drag my hook closer to my thumb. And where it crosses, I'm just going to pinch. So just pinch it. So you can no longer move your hook up and down. I'm going to do a yarn over, which is putting this yarn over the hook. So yarn over. And then we're going to pull this strand through this loop. Just like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to overhand my hook like this. I'm going to re-pinch the end. I don't want to lose that. But I'm going to push this knot close to my thumb. As I'm pushing it, the knot's going to get smaller and tighter. You want to keep pushing it until you cannot push it any longer. Then what we're going to do is take our thumb and middle finger and just pull out that excess piece a little bit more. You're going to feel some give. And then it's going to stop because you've tightened this up as much as it can. You don't have to pull it extremely hard, but I'm now going to grab the knot and I'm going to slide it towards the hook, just like that. So now we can go and start our first row, our first set of instructions, which is doing chain stitches. So let me show you how to do that. You want to take your middle finger and thumb and just hold on to this knot. This is going to stabilize your knot, stabilize your project so you can do the next stitches. I'm going to go back to underhanding my hook. This is the most relaxed position to have your hand on your hook. It'll allow you to not tense up on your hook as well. If you tense up the whole time that you're crocheting, your hand is going to start getting tired and it's going to hurt. But just having a relaxed hold on it will not only give you not so tight knots or stitches, they'll end up being hopefully more consistent. Over time it'll be more consistent, but when there's less tension, I feel like you have more control over what you're doing, if that makes any sense. Alright, so let's learn how to do a chain stitch. So what we have to do is take this yarn here and we're going to yarn over the hook. So yarn over. Now I'm going to pull this strand through this loop. Alright, like that. And that is a chain stitch. So we have our chain stitch. It consists of a loop here, a loop there. It looks like a braid. You turn it on its side and it has a back hump. So a chain stitch is going to consist of 3 loops. 1, 2, and this back hump is 3. Let's do this again. We're going to yarn over and pull through a loop. Sorry guys, alarm went off to feed my cat. Okay. Let me show you this one more time. So to do a chain, we're going to yarn over pull up a loop. So now we have 3. We have the 3 chains that look like 3 braids here. We have the loops on each side. We turn it on its back, and we have the 3 humps as well. So what I'm going to do is continue the rest of these chains. Okay, so once we have that, we're going to move on to the next round. So for the next row, it says starting from the second hook, and then we're going to do single crochet stitches across. So what we're going to do is skip the first stitch here, this first chain. We're going to be putting our hook into the second one. Now, you can put your hook into the loops of the braid here, like that. But what I like to do is turn it on its side and put the hook into the hump. So in the beginning, when I showed you that each chain makes up of 3 loops, 1 loop here, 1 loop here, turn it on the back, and then there's the hump. So we're going to utilize the hump, because then we can keep this really pretty braid intact. So turn it on its side, skip the first chain, go into the second one. We're going to stick our hook into that hump, and we're going to do our single crochet stitch. So what we're going to do is yarn over. We're going to pull this through this loop. So now we have 2 loops on our hook, and then we're going to yarn over again and pull through both those loops like that. So now we have our single crochet stitch. So the single crochet stitch has its little height here, but if you look on top, it's the same braid. We have 1 loop here and 1 loop here. All right, let's do this again. So into the next stitch, we're going to put our hook into that back hump. We're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull up a loop. So now you have 2 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over again, and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. So now we have 2 single crochet stitches, and then if you look on top, you can see that each stitch looks like a braid, and it has 2 loops on there. All right, one more time with you guys. Into the next stitch, put your hook into the back hump. We're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook. I'm going to yarn over again, and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. So now we have 3 single crochet stitches. That's 3 braids. Each braid has 2 loops. If you look on its side, it looks nice, just like this. All right, if you're a beginner, it might be inconsistent, and that's okay for now. The consistency will happen over time. But I'm just going to continue doing the same thing all the way down here. So let's do that. And this is good practice. Anytime you do a project, you're always going to get better than you did the first time. And the good thing about crocheting is if you wanted to take it apart, all you have to do is remove the hook and pull the string, pull the feeder yarn, and it'll undo every stitch you want to remove. So I think that's also great. For me, mainly because I'm doing multiple projects, and if I need a color yarn that's in another project, I can just unravel that and take its yarn. I've done that because I don't have every color, you know, I try to use what I have. All right, so for this last one here, we do have that little excess piece. What I'm going to try to do is hide it. So what you want to do is lie it flat on your hook, and then we're going to yarn over so that it goes right over that excess piece. Then we're going to pull a loop like this, and we're going to just, you know, continue it like we would a single crochet stitch. And that excess piece is now tucked away into that stitch. Will it stay there? I don't know. You can hope. If not, you'll just trim it. Alright, so we just completed the first row of this project. Now, for the next rows, this is going to be for rows 2 through 12, and this is kind of critical. The booklet recommends that you get these markers. They're very helpful in keeping your stitch count as well as your row count, because we all have a lot of stuff going on. I'm filming this before I do a live. You know, I'm going to do my live and maybe come back later depending on how late the live is. If not, come back the next day. So what I'm going to do is have these markers to keep track of what row I'm on. So I'm going to put this marker, it's basically a plastic safety pin that they make specifically for crafts like this. You can buy them in a pack online or in a hobby store, and you can get them for a few bucks. I recommend getting as many as you can, because in this case we're doing rows 2 through 12. So ultimately that's 11 rows that we have to keep track of, and it could be a lot. Some projects have you do the same thing for the entirety, so you know, how do you keep track of that when you make a scarf? Stuff like that. Anyway, so what we're gonna do is put this marker under the braid of the last stitch we made. So here is our last stitch. I told you it looks kind of like a braid. We just want to slip it underneath those 2 loops. So I'm going to stick this through. I want to look on the other side, and I'm going to check to see that I didn't pierce any yarn. You want to make sure you have a nice clear slip underneath that stitch, and we're going to close this off. This is going to represent round 2 for me. So we have one for round 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. I have a lot of these, so if you don't hear like rattling over there. So I know that I'm going to be doing the same instruction. I just have to make sure I use up all the markers. So I'm going to double check. I always double check. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh shoot, 12. I need 12. 12. Now that's going to make me think I got to do it again. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, good. So for the next several rounds, we're going to be doing single crochet stitches with a chain and turning. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So we have to chain 1. We have to actually finish up row 1. So chain 1, and then we turn. So what they mean by turn is we just literally turn it so that all our stitches are on the left side. So from here we do all our single crochet stitches. You know that you have to put your hook into the first stitch where this marker is at. So let's do that now. Right, and then we're just going to follow this all the way down. Alright, so after you complete doing your single crochet stitches, before you move on, you want to take a marker and place it underneath the braid of the last stitch we made, and this is going to indicate row 3. So what it says to do again is to chain 1 and turn. So you turn like this. So we're going to keep doing this process, like I said, until all these markers are gone. When we finish up the last marker, we're not going to chain 1. Alright, so I'm going to do this in silence. Alright, so I've completed rows 2 through 12. I left the markers in. For row 13, we have to do single crochet stitches around the 3 edges. So what we need to do is to put a single crochet stitch in the same spot in the same stitch that we did our last single crochet stitch. So let's do that now. Okay, and then this is going to kind of, it's like an increasing stitch. It's going to naturally start curving, so we can do the one of the sides next. All right, so then now it says that we have to do single crochet stitches and then an increasing stitch in the next corner. So I'm looking at this. You can use these markers to kind of help you locate where you're putting your stitches, because it's easy to do that when you go the long ways because you have your stitches ready to go. You can see that clear as crystal. When you get to the edges, it's like, where do I put it? And you want to span it out evenly so that it doesn't look funny. So these markers are actually going to help us space out where we put our single crochet stitches. So let's do this now and use your markers to locate where you should put your stitches. Okay, and then once you reach the other corner, we're going to do our increasing stitch. So that's basically, again, 2 single crochet stitches. Actually, we've not done that. All right, so this is the corner. It's actually 2 single crochet stitches in the same stitch. So like we did at the other corner, we're going to stick our hook back into that same stitch, and we're going to do 1 more single crochet stitch, and that's basically it. An increasing stitch is doing 2 of the same stitch in that 1 stitch. All right, so now that we're on this side, we just have to do our single crochet stitches across. So let me just see which hole I'm putting this in. Okay, because they tell you how many you need. And let me just say, because this is the bottom now, and I know you guys didn't notice yet if you're beginners, but the fact that we use the back hump, you still have this braid that we started out with. If we had done it the normal way, you wouldn't be seeing the braid, which will kind of make it flimsy to do a single crochet stitch on them. But since we made it just like its other side, you get to put your hook into 2 loops and make a nice sturdy stitch along the bottom. It looks nicer. I mean, you can tell the difference between putting your hook in the back hump versus putting it in one of the braided loops. So that's also why. Not just because if this was exposed it looked pretty, but also if you end up using it later like we are, you'll have more stability or strength in your stitching. Alright, so we reached the corner and we're going to do another increasing stitch. So into the next stitch, do 2 single crochet stitches, 1, and in that same stitch let's do 2. Alright, so we have 2 in 1 stitch. Alright, so now that we're back on this other side, we have to do the same number of stitches we did on this side, and you want to be able to spread that out evenly. So let's do that. All right, now we are going to do 1. We're not doing the increasing stitch in the corner, we're just doing the 1. Okay, so let's see. Alright, and then after this we have to chain 1. I'm just going to count back to see if I have the right amount of stitches. I am going to remove these though because we don't need them anymore. I am going to need 1 for the last stitch we made, so okay, and then I'm gonna mark the last stitch I made, and we're gonna move on to the next round. Alright, so for row 14 we have to do back loops only, and it's all single crochet stitches. So what this is going to do, it's going to create a seam along the edge, and it's going to start making a natural fold. So this part here is the base, and doing this next step is now going to create the sides. So I may have explained this earlier when I did the chains, but the back loops, just as a reminder, when you look at your project, this is the front loop and this part here is the back loop. We're going to be sticking our hook into the back loops of these stitches only. So let me show you how to do that. So take your next stitch here, we're going to slip our hook into the back loop only, like that. So we had our braid, I just split it in half, I put it in the back loop only. The front loop is right here, just doing nothing. And you know what, just so that I can mark that where that is, I'm going to take this marker and slip it through the front loop only. Okay, 'cause sometimes it can get lost where you first started. Alright, and then we're going to do single crochet stitches. So I'm actually going to do this in silence. Alright, so I completed row 14, and for the next rounds, we're just going to be doing regular single crochet stitches. We're not going to be doing any back loop, front loop. We're doing the whole kit and caboodle. This is going to be row for 15. There will be no chain stitching or anything like that, so we're just gonna keep going around. This is gonna be 15, and then I'm gonna find some more markers. We have to go up to row 24, so we've got a ways to go. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And if you're wondering why, like, I'm looking out for these things, I like the ones that are like really open, because then I can just slip them in. The ones that I just used, the pressure on it keeps it like it, you know, it'll bounce back into shape eventually, but some of them won't. But when it's closed like this, you have to open it and then slide it through. I just want it already open. So that's a little tip. But yeah, so we're gonna do single crochet stitches all the way around, and I just got to make sure that I use up all these markers. Let me just double check. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, yeah, and I'm gonna do this in silence. Alright, I completed rounds 15 through 24. That was a lot. I'm going to need more white after this. For row 25, it says to do the single crochet stitches, and then we're adding an additional single crochet stitches to even out the piece, because one thing that I don't like of some kits that do amigurumi is that they don't have you connect each round. And when I was doing Nightmare Before Christmas, I had people ask me like, why are you doing it that way? Where I connect each round, and I said, oh well, because I've done kits that do that. But some kits, like that Nightmare Before Christmas, didn't. They had you go like we just did in a spiral. So what I don't like about that is then your project is now like kind of tilted. If you take a look at a spiral, you know, it's a never-ending thing, and it doesn't just lie flat. So now we have a few, like we have a little dip on probably here, right? So you can see it. There's a little ledge. And apparently these extra single crochet stitches are going to even it out. I don't know. I don't buy that, but we're just gonna do what they tell us to do. So I'm gonna do the single crochet stitches that they're asking for, and then I'm also gonna do the additional single crochet stitches, and then I'm gonna come back in and I'm gonna show you guys how to fasten off, which is fairly easy to do. I thought that this box would be a little deeper, but I guess not. But anyway, Alright, so I finished round 25 and it's asking you to fasten off and weave the ends. So we won't be needing any tails to tie anything together. So I'm just gonna cut like about an inch or so, and I'm gonna show you how to fasten off. So to do that, we're just gonna yarn over, and you're gonna pull through the loop and all the way out. Then I'm going to tighten this stitch, and that will be the end of it. So from here you can weave your ends. I'm just going to go in and out of my stitches and just pull this excess piece through all the way out, back and forth. Okay. Alright, so we've got that. Now we have to add the eyes and the mouth. I'm gonna use, I don't have black, of course. Too many kits that required black, and now I no longer have black. But I'm gonna use some red. And I'm gonna use red because when I get takeout, the boxes always have like red ink of, you know, a picture or something, sometimes writing. So I'm just gonna use red, and hopefully it doesn't come off too like evil. But anyway, so it says that we have to put the eyes between rows 19 and 20, about 4 stitches apart, and then the mouth. So if you have safety eyes, this is going to be easy for you. It's going to take a little bit of work if you don't. So let's see. Okay, so this is 14, and we have to do this between 19 and 20. So 14, I know this is 14 because this is where we started the back loop only. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So we have to do it right across here. And you could take the moment to not use this side because we have the little bump. So let's actually start counting on this side. Yeah, you want to pick the nicest side possible. 1, 2, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. All right, and then you just want to try to make this even Steven. So we have 4 stitches in between. I'm going to put it here, and then you want to make sure you have a little bit of excess to tie this later. So just going to leave a little bit, and then I'm going to go around 1 stitch for the width of the eye, and you can make this any way you want, really. 1 stitch, 2 stitches, 3, you know. But I'm going to do several passes of this red to make a thick enough eye. If you can possibly try, I'm going to try to make it like, I don't want to say round, but the more layers we try to add on the sides, it's going to make it look kind of round, if that makes any sense. Okay. And then once I get it to the size that I want, we can go on the other eye. And I say this all the time, try to keep track of how many times you make passes for the eyes so that you can do the same number on the other side. But I forgot. Alright, this might be it. So I'm gonna go 4 stitches apart and come out through here. So I guess if you don't keep a count, you can try to at least make it the same size. So hopefully I can just make it the same size. Comment below, let me know how you're doing, where you're getting tripped up, how you're liking this project so far. This booklet is so cute. I mean, I highly recommend. This was definitely a good find for me on Amazon. I always thought these like cute snacks were always a fun idea that I wanted to do, and there's a lot of snacks on here and it's pretty diverse. So there's a lot more than what I've been doing. I just saw these and I just went for them. But you know, you can make your own, make and assemble your own burrito. I know it sounds so simple, but in the crochet world, I mean, that's pretty cool, I think. So, and like I said, I have plenty of other kits to do, so even if I take a pause on this booklet for now, because we so far did a lot and I only have dessert and a snack left to do after dinner, I am going to get into all these other kits that are just as cute, and they're pretty diverse too. We've got some knitting and crocheting as well. Alright, so now I gotta make the smiley face, the mouth. I'm just trying to see where they've located it. Okay, so I'm gonna come up from half of one of these stitches here. So right in the middle. And then I'm gonna go in the other half of one of these stitches in the middle. And we're gonna leave a little loop. Okay, and then I'm gonna come in, oops, you want to stick your needle underneath that loop because we're gonna make that dip for the smile. All right, and then you're gonna go back into that same space. All right, so we've got our little smile. I'm gonna go in here now and I'm gonna double knot our project. All right, don't pull too tight. You don't want to bunch your project. You just want it to be secure so you don't lose that stitch. And then I'm gonna cut this off and we're gonna move on to the next steps. So after this we have to do the flaps. This is what our face is looking like. How cute is that, you guys? So cute. All right. To give the container angled corners, simply hold the outside corners with your thumb and index finger while pushing your middle. Okay. Yeah, so something like this to make those. And you know, I don't even know why you bother doing this, because it'll collapse over time. If you really wanted this sturdy, like I said with the bento box, I would make 2 of these. Cut pieces of cardboard and sandwich it in there and sew the pieces together. So cut the base part, put that second box inside, sew the edging around the base, then take a panel for one of the sides, slip it in between the 2 pieces, sew the sides here and the top, and then you do each panel one by one, slip a panel in here, sew it from this side and over, slip another panel here, sew from this side and over, and then one more, you know what I'm saying, so that you can seal in each cardboard piece to keep it nice and crisp. But the reason why I don't do that, and I didn't do that for the hard-boiled egg, is because when you're giving this to a child, it's going to get dirty quick. So you want to just to be able to throw it in there and wash it. Now the integrity of the crocheted project is going to wear over time, so it's not going to stand as crisp. Once you wash it, it just wants to fall. One way to go about it is you can starch your piece, and you know, when you starch your clothes, it leaves a nice crisp line. It makes it stiffer, so I would just do that, you know. Anyway, we're gonna set this aside. We're gonna move on to the next stuff here, and we're gonna make the front and back flaps. So I'm gonna take my white, and we have to do a chain stitch. So like we did in the beginning, we're going to be doing this cast on with the slip knot. So ring and pinky and thumb hold one end, index and middle finger hold the yarn apart. You're going to put your hook perpendicular to the yarn, and then we're going to go down, out, and around to create this loop around the hook. You can slide your hook up and down, slide it down towards your thumb, take your middle finger here and just press it where it crosses so that you can let go of your left hand. We're going to grab some feeder yarn, and then I'm going to pinch this bottom piece here, and we're going to slide the hook towards the thumb, and I'm going to pinch right where it crosses so that I stabilize my hook. I can't slide it up and down. I'm going to yarn over, and we're going to pull this through the loop like that. Then I'm going to overhand the hook. I'm going to repinch this end, and I'm going to push this knot towards my thumb. It's going to get tighter, and you will no longer be able to push it. Either the knot will be too tight, or you're going to butt up against this thumb. Once you get to that point, you want to take your thumb and middle finger and just pull that excess piece a little bit more, because you'll always have that little bit left you can pull, but don't pull too tightly. So take the knot, and you want to slide it up towards the hook like that. So now we can start our next part of this box here. So let's do the chain stitches that it asks you to do. Okay, once you do that, we're going to move on to the first row, and what we're going to do is the second chain from the hook. We're going to do our single crochet stitches, and like I told you with the first portion of this project, we have our nice braids that I don't like to mess up, so I'm going to be sticking my hook into the back humps that you see here. So skip the first chain, we're going to go into the second chain, into the back hump, and then I'm going to do my single crochet stitch. Alright, again into the back hump, work my single crochet stitch, into the back hump, work my single crochet stitch. So again, at the end of this, you're going to have your chain stitch, your stitches on top with the braids, and then if you flip it upside down, you also have the braids that way. And as we saw in the first section, it's good because we'll be able to put these pieces together, and we'll be able to grab onto 2 loops rather than 1, and you'll see the difference between grabbing 1 loop versus grabbing both of them. Alright, so I'm just going to finish the rest of this, and then we'll move on to the next row. for this last one, I'm going to stick in my hook. There's this little excess piece that we can kind of tuck inside the stitch. So take your yarn and make sure it's kind of away from this excess piece. We want to lie it flat onto the hook like this, and then we're going to do our yarn over, so we can take our yarn back here, yarn over. We're going to pull this through the loop, and this is actually going to enclose that excess piece into the stitch. I accidentally pulled it through, so that's not exactly what I wanted, but yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So we hid that stitch back here. I kind of accidentally hooked it, so I took it back to the front, but you can trim that. But if you can look closely, it's trapped in this stitch, which is what we want. So if we're very finicky about it, I can just trim this end, and so now it's completely covered. Alright, so from here I am going to take a marker and mark the last stitch I made, so I know I can keep track of where I am. And then for the next row, which will be rows 2 through 7, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I always double count. We are going to be doing these rounds. They're single crochet stitches with a chain stitch, but when we get to the last row, don't make the chain. So I'm going to do this in silence. Alright, so I finished the rows and we have to fasten off, but we have to leave a tail for sewing. So what I like to do is leave at least enough tail that goes around the project twice, not knowing how they're going to want us to sew this together, just to make sure that we have enough tail to sew around in case they ask us to. Alright. So you do have to make 2 of these, and I'm going to make the second one off camera, but here's how you fasten it like we did with the first piece. Yarn over, and we're going to pull this through the loop, but all the way out. Alright, and then we're going to tighten up this loop, and that's that. I'm going to leave these on for now. I mean, I know some of you don't have enough of these, so take it off. But yeah, I recommend getting a bunch of these so that you don't have to worry about doing that. But alright, so let's do the side flap now. Let me just get myself situated here. Alright, so for the side flap, we're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to make some chains that they're asking us to do, and then we're going to do our single crochet stitches. So just one more time, I'm going to show you how to cast on with the slip knot. Right now I am dealing with a knot, a manufacturer's knot maybe, I don't know, but yeah. Alright, okay, so one more time, ring and pinky and thumb hold the end, index, middle finger hold apart the other. Take your hook, lie it perpendicular to the yarn. We're going to go down, out, and around so that you can slide your hook up and down. Slide it down towards your thumb. We're going to take our middle finger here and hold it where it crosses. I'm going to let go of the yarn so I can wrap it around my finger. Repinch the end. We're going to slide the hook further down towards the thumb, and where it crosses, just pinch it so that your hook can no longer slide up or down. We're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through the loop, then overhand your hook, repinch your end, and we're going to push the knot towards the thumb. And once you get to a point where you can't push it any longer, then we're going to take our thumb and middle finger and just pull this excess piece out just a little bit, because there is a little bit more you can squeeze out of that knot. Don't pull too tightly. From here you can grab the knot and slide it towards the hook. You want to leave yourself some space in this loop so that we can start our first row, or first part of the instructions. So it's asking to do a bunch of chain stitches, so let's do that. Alright, and once we're here, make sure you have the right number of chains for this first part here. Then from the second chain from the hook, we're going to stick in our hook. I'm going to use the back loops, so right here, and we're going to do our single crochet stitches. And then again here we have an opportunity to hide this piece I'm going to lie it flat onto the hook. Then I'm going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. And I'm going to take another marker here and mark the last stitch we made. And then we can go to the next row. So for rows 2 through 7, so we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to do our single crochet stitches, and then we'll fasten off and leave our tail for sewing. Again, we're going to be chaining 1 before we do each row, with the exception of the last row. The last row doesn't get the chain 1. So just going to gather some yarn here, and then I'm going to be doing this in silence. After we finish making all the flaps, the front and back flap, and then we're making these side flaps, again 2 of them. I'm going to do the second one off camera. Then we're going to come back in and assemble all the pieces. All right, for the next set of instructions, it's a little murky at best. A little complicated, not too complicated, but we'll see. All right, so it says on the last single crochet from the container, it's asking to put a stitch marker. So let me just check something real quick. Okay, so I'm going to take a stitch marker and we're going to find that last stitch and we're going to put a stitch marker. So then it's saying it's going to count as stitch 1, and then we have to do a number of stitches along the short side and place another stitch marker. So I'm going to grab a stitch marker. All right, I'm going to place the stitch marker. Okay, so counting from this stitch, we need to count stitches on the long side. I'm going to get another stitch marker here. So, all right. And then we have to count along the short side again. I'm going to get another stitch marker. Right, so we're going to have 4 of these, and they're clearly indicating where we probably will put the flaps. Right, let me just see this now. Okay. So now we have to line up the side flap with the stitch markers. And I'm trying to see how they want us to sew this on here. So we're gonna take one of these sides. I think we don't need these markers. I usually, like I did for this week, I kept it on the side because I didn't know exactly how we're gonna put this together. But since it's kind of looking like we don't need these on the side, I'm gonna remove them. And I'm gonna take my needle and we're going to start sewing the side flaps. All right, so thread this up. So we just have to line up the stitches. Let's take a look at the sides too. If you think that one side looks better than the other, you know what? This is a prettier side, but this is probably going to be flapping out. So let's put the prettier side this way. That way, after we're done sewing, the prettier side will show. I just want to make sure I line up the flaps. Oh, and let me just check the number of stitches we have on this flaps just to make sure. Okay. So the stitch markers are going to be part of the flaps here. So I'm going to start sewing these stitches together, stitch for stitch. once you get into the last stitch, I'm going to take this moment to make a knot. And then I'm going to hide my yarn here by, I guess, weaving it in. So I'm going to weave it in underneath this flap so that it disappears into the project. Okay, then I'm just going to trim off the excess because this is pretty long. Alright, I am going to pause this video. I'm going to sew on the other side, and when we come back, we're going to start doing the front and back flaps. Alright, so we have the two side flaps, and we're going to sew the front and back. So I'm going to make sure that the nicer side is going to be facing out. Now that's the funny thing, because when this is open, you're going to cover that smile. Oh well. Alright, so I need these two flaps out of the way. Again, we're just going to line up the pieces, and we're going to sew on stitch for stitch. And again, if you want to make these stiffer, you could make two pieces of each of this box and sandwich a cardboard piece in between to add some more stability, some more crispness in the angles. Whoops. All right, I'm going to take this moment to tie my knot. Then again, I'm going to hide the excess by weaving it in and out of these stitches. Good now. I'll just mute the rest of this. It's okay. You have to make a recording.
thought you were filming and now you're talking to me.
I said, no, you're okay.
I'm gonna try to find the challenge.
Oh, you have to record it.
I just forget what challenge.
Hopefully it's not going on the same time as Dexter. Because Dexter goes on at 8 o'clock.
On when?
Sunday.
I think they're like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it would have been a shame for Dexter to get the boot.
Yeah.
Let's go find the challenge. It might be too early. I just thought of it, so.
Alright, so I did that. And then I'm just going to add the last piece. And then we'll move on to the next stuff. I'm going to do this off camera. Alright, you guys. So I completed sewing this container together. This in itself is a full out video. Actually, I have no idea how long this has been. But I think we're just going to stop here. But here is our little takeout box. Again, like, I don't know why they bothered with the front flap, because you're covering the face. You know, maybe you can do like something like this to keep it from falling on the face. Yeah, it looks like one of those hats, right? But how cute is this? So we have our little box. You know what's coming next. Next time when we come into this series, I think this is going to be a two-part video. The bento box was filled with stuff, which is why I broke that down. There is stuff in here, but I don't think it's as involved as the bento box. So for the next video, we are going to be doing the noodles. There's shrimp, we have chopsticks, and a fortune cookie. You always have to have the fortune cookie in your takeout. So I'm really excited. This is going to be super cute. Comment below, let me know what you think. Because this is probably going to be a two-part video series for the dinner, I'll be able to throw in a knit kit quicker than last week's. So I'm sure you guys will like that. At any rate, if you like this book it. If you like this booklet, the Crochet Cafe, go to the description box and click on that Amazon link. I have no affiliations with it, but I do highly recommend this booklet. It's filled, jam-packed with so many cute projects that you can do that'll probably take you a day or two each. So I highly recommend. So yeah, thank you so much, you guys, for watching. This is Isms by Josie. Please share, like, and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.